Good everyone, today's video. Today we have a review on Pallier's D.510. I'm honestly surprised I haven't reviewed this aircraft, which is unusual for me, but even so, we might as well get it done, shall we? Because you don't really tend to see videos on this thing, which is rather surprising. I reckon people think it's just like the D501, and well, the D501's a little bit underpowered. So Pallier's D510 is the starter premium for France, and it's certainly a very capable one. This aircraft is armed with two 7.5 Mach 1934 machine guns with 300 rounds each, and one 20mm Hispano 404 cannon with just 60 shots. Now, personally, I like Palliers, but I just think for a newer player, they really need something with a bit more ammo. But that's a criticism that most people give about the D510. Now, when it comes to performance, this aircraft is actually rather surprising. The climb rate is rather good, the roll rate is rather good, the turn time isn't too bad to say it's a monoplane, and the dive characteristics are very good. So at least it's forgiving in some aspects. But obviously, against something like a Sikorsky's Chaika or something like a F3F, I'd think then, because I don't really think of star premiums all that much anymore. Um, it will certainly have its disadvantages, but will certainly have its advantages as well. For the most part, you should be able to outclimb them. I've noticed that whenever I fight biplanes in this aircraft, I'm normally above them without much issue. This includes allied biplanes. When it comes to other monoplanes, the main monoplane threat is going to come from the form of BF-109s, which are very capable aircraft, but this aircraft is more than capable of taking them on. And obviously, if you're fighting allied or monoplanes, it's going to be more of a tougher task, especially with something like a Hurricane, which is very tanky. Now, when it comes to this aircraft's performance, it is powered by a single Hispano Suiza 12X BRS 12-cylinder inline, pushing about 900 horsepower on web. Given this aircraft's light, shall we say, fuselage weight, it is rather good at climbing and its acceleration is rather good. And that's what I tried to utilize in this battle. Now, recently I've taken out Pallier's D510 to start taking out those Ranos, and it does very well at taking out the Ranos. Obviously, you have to watch out for the back gunner on those things, and also the 20s in the front. But with the correct belts, these guns really do hit hard, and this aircraft is very capable. Even if the new player isn't as fine-tuned with this aircraft, they should be able to get some use out of it. So, in terms of, well, belts, it's simple. French belts are best used with the Universal or the Stealth for the 7.5s, and ground targets for the 20mm as per usual. And obviously, being a early monoplane, this aircraft does not have access to any bombs or rockets of any kind, so it is limited in its ground attack capability, but the 20mm can pop light tanks to some extent. So for 250 Golden Eagles, and obviously if you chose France as your first nation, you would have this aircraft already, it is certainly a very good pickup. It's a very capable aircraft, and I personally really enjoy this aircraft. It's a lot of fun, it's great to just relax in, and I've even met a couple of subs flying this thing, so what more could you want? But yeah, I just think these starter aircraft are, for the most part, very capable, and I find them a lot of fun just in general. That's how I think of these, and for the most part, Pallier's D510 is that. Now, at a full up tier, it's going to be hard, but it is doable. You just have to play it smart. Obviously, a new player will not be able to play it smart because obviously they will not know what to do. But an experienced pilot should be able to get something out of this aircraft, even against a BF1 and an F1, which this thing can fight. So let's move on to the review, and I can showcase what this aircraft can actually do. And let's put it this way: this aircraft was pleasantly relaxing to fly when I first got it. This aircraft was available when France first came out for the air tree, and I picked it up, and I was certainly very surprised by it because obviously I spaded the D501 first, and then I spaded, well, because I think it came half spaded. I then had a few flights in this aircraft and I was like, wow, this thing is vastly different. Now this may not be the first time you might not, or you might see the D.510, and I don't mean in terms of videos. I mean in terms of tech trees. From what I've been able to find, China had a few of these. I'm not certain how many, but I think as far as I've been able to find, China had a few of these. Now, as you can notice up there, Shadow's joined me in this battle, and well, we're going to get some, well, I'm going to get a good result out of it, but Shadow not so much. Let's put it that way. So let's jump us ahead, and let's get into the end. Looks like we've had a replay freeze, because, well, Gaijin's replay system sucks. It's still running, it's just being very slow. There we go. I just love that when Gaijin's replays bug out and just decide to freeze. So Shadow is in the boomer shooter, the B.156B1. Great aircraft, I've always enjoyed that thing. And, well, Shadow at the moment is currently dealing with the enemy bombers. However, unfortunately, one of the Vowels decides to give Shadow a hug, which is Flight's job, and, well, we've now lost Shadow. So, yeah. I-15 sets that key 43 afire, which those things can outturn you. There's a few monoplanes that can. But as you can tell, the climb around this aircraft is cracking. I mean, for this BR at least. It gets up into the sky very easily, and at a 20-degree of angle of climb, it really does get a move on. But obviously, Shadow at this point was spectating me, and obviously I wanted to deal with that HE-100, which is going to be one of the most important targets for you to try and deal with. And it's going to be very hard to deal with them, especially for a new player. You got to remember, this is a aircraft that someone could go, maybe I want to start with France in this game. They get this aircraft and they're like, okay, this seems pretty good. But the problem is, HE-100 is better. So that's why you have to rely on the HE-100 pilot committing a mistake, which you're going to see this guy do. Watch what he does. So, he pulls up to obviously think, okay, this is a D.510, I can outstall that. I fire just to 20, because I've split my guns in this battle, and set him on fire. I fire a couple of bursts of the MGs, and obviously at this point I stall out, but the HE-100 burns down, and I get my first kill. That's really the only way you can deal with HE-100s, is if the pilot makes a mistake. I was lucky for him to make a mistake that he did, let's put it that way. So at this point, I'm diving towards the last few enemy fighters. There is a Bf-109, a CR-32, and a C-200. All of which are perfectly capable aircraft. I mean, the CR-32 is a little bit underpowered, but other than that, it is certainly... It can do some work, but it's just a little bit underpowered. So at this point, I decided to target Smezzy in his C-200, because I deemed him to be the more experienced pilot. And, well, his situational awareness could do some work, or could do with some work. Kill number 2. And obviously the CR-32 was next. Although it's underpowered, it is certainly very capable in good hands. And did you notice what I did there? I'm just going to pause it here and point out what I did. You may have noticed, if you go back and watch that part of the video, you'll notice that I was aiming with one machine gun at the canopy. This is because biplanes of this era don't tend to have armor. The only ones that do are the Russian ones, and you fight with the Russians. So that's a good piece of advice. If you accidentally forget, like me, to set your gun convergence, or you don't know how to set gun convergence and you set it like 800 meters, try and lead with one machine gun. That's a handy little tip for you. So at this point, that aircraft over there, which is a 109B, has just gone down. And the last two enemy planes are a HE-111H3 and a HS-123A1. Now obviously the HS is more than capable, but obviously I didn't see his dot till around about now, which is when I see him. Now what you're going to remember is, splitting your guns may not be possible for a new player. They may not understand A, what gun splitting means, and B, when best to use the cannon and when best to use the machine guns. So that's why, if you're going to try and gun split, I would highly recommend learning your bird first, and knowing what the machine guns can do, the cannon can do, etc. Even if it takes you more than a handful of flights. And as you can tell, the 20mm is rather brutal, and that's kill number 4. But at this point, I'm down to practically, the best way to describe it is I'm down to a couple of pew-pews left and a little bit in the cannon, which is not enough to down a 111. So I made the decision at this point to go back to base, and eventually the 111 tries to land and rips his wings off, because, well, that's just what most 111 pilots do these days. So like I say, the Pallier's D.510 is very capable. You just have to know what the aircraft can do and can't do, and what it can and can't fight. This will take you some time to learn, but it's a perfect aircraft to get you started with, and it might even teach you a bit of trigger discipline. So you never know, this aircraft may help you later down the line. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on Pallier's D.510, and I'll catch you all on the next one.